So I just want to give you one more brief update on the wildfire. Fortunately, it's out. This is where the wildfire happened in Penn. This is in New Jersey. It happened in Penn State Forest, off of Spring Hill Road, which is over here. And at last count, it was about 11,000 acres that were burned total. Unfortunately, no structures were damaged. No power lines were damaged. No roads were damaged. And the fire was contained to this area. So great job again, because they do have controlled burns, so they're able to contain the fires. New Jersey is an excellent forest fire service, and they're basically saying the cause is most likely in an area. They have investigators down there, and they say it probably came from an illegal bonfire. Unfortunately, not a controlled burn. There are a lot of people out there spreading lies. And I'm going to rant a little bit about this because I'm not happy about it. A lot of people spreading lies about this was caused by energy weapons and oh, why did it spread so quickly? Here's why it spread so quickly. All right, we've hardly had any snow this winter, and the ground and the leaf litter is very, very dry. And we're going to go back to the weather on that day right now. We're going to go we're going to go to Ventus Sky, and we're going to go back to the weather on that day. And I'll show you why it spread so fast. Because there are a lot of people out there that are just spreading lies. They're spreading lies, and they have a right to comment. I mean, I'm letting them comment, but you have to understand something. That this wildfire is a natural phenomenon, but this was set by humans that had an illegal bonfire. All right, not a controlled burn, because the weather was not safe that day to do a controlled burn. So so it was on Saturday, March 30th. We're going to go back to the weather that day, right around in the afternoon, around 2 o'clock when this thing started taking off. And you'll notice it's very warm. It's in the 70s. Here's where it was, right over here. All right, so it was in the 70s. All right. The winds, you notice there's those arrows. The winds were blowing very strong from the south. All right. And it was very warm. And remember, the ground is dry due to the lack of snowfall. All right, snowfall when you usually have a lot of snowfall in the winter, it means the leaves, the needles on the ground have some dampness in them, but there isn't any, so they're bone dry. All right, and now we're going to look at the humidity, the actual relative humidity. All right, it's pretty low, 50%. All right, so it wasn't safe to do a controlled burn that day. So they weren't doing controlled burns that day. That's a lie. Let's take a look at the wind gusts. 22 miles an hour, 25 miles an hour. So these are conditions that are favorable for the spread of a wildfire. All the things we've spoken about. All right, and that's why that's why this fire happens. And here's an article. From New Jersey, from NewJersey.com about this. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you'll see here, wildfire consumed more than 11,000 acres, most likely caused by human activity. Investigators have concluded that the fire was not part of a prescribed burn, and these are which are intentionally set to prevent out-of-control wildfires. And there was no lightning reported in the area, and there are no power lines in that part of the forest. So it was not fully detained. Actually got to 11,638 acres. So that's, like I said, that's quite a large fire, and people are wondering why it spread so quickly. And I'm explaining to you why it spread so quickly. It's not laser weapons. It's not the military. It's the conditions at the time and the fact we've hardly had any snow. And the fact is, it's going to be a bad fire season because of what I just spoke about. And at least in New Jersey, they do these controlled burns. We're going to go right back to the spot here in the maps. Where they do these controlled burns, at least they're able to contain the fire, and it was contained. It didn't harm any structures, and it's part of the Pine Barrens ecosystem. They don't go in there. See, when we have a fire on Long Island, they go in there and they race to put it out. It's not what happens in New Jersey. What they do is they contain it. So they decide, all right, it's going to burn in a certain area, and that's it. And they have fire lines, and they do back burns around it, and that way it doesn't get out of it. It did spread quickly, but they knew it was. So they contained it to this area. It didn't threaten anyone or any structures or anything like that. So my credit goes out to the New Jersey Forest Fire Service, once again showing what it takes. Whereas here in New York, DEC is a joke, and we need controlled burns in our pine barrens. And when we have a wildfire, it is going to hurt people. It is going to hurt structures because we don't have proper management on Long Island. But in New Jersey, they do. So my credit goes out to all the firemen out there and all the Forest Fire Service personnel that kept us contained to this area right here. So that's going to do it for this update. I'll link you to the article. But again, don't believe the lies. All right, people spreading fake news about energy weapons and it was done intentionally. No, this was not. Somebody said, oh, they said it so they can clear the area for development. No, that's not what it is at all. These are all lies, and it just. These are probably people who still support our president. So, I mean, like I said, I'll give them the right to comment here, and I'm sure they're going to make a lot of comments, against me. But I have to respond to it. So that's going to be it for this update, and on probably the beginning of quite a busy forest fire season due to the lack of snow this winter. That's going to be it for this update.